Here I am, Leon C., aka Morpheus. And you are now listening to the Academy of Wow Men. And today, I am your professor. And I'm here to help you, to give you some empowerment, to talk about subjects that are rather uncomfortable to talk about. But they are very much a necessity. I want to talk about something that's very vital and something that you can probably relate to, which is this thing called trust. Okay? Trust is a very unique but fascinating aspect of our existence, our nature, where it is required to take the next steps of molding ourselves or connecting ourselves with other people, whether they are our peers or if it's for something intimate or even businesses. Even businesses have this thing called trust and good faith. And this is why they have you fill out applications. They want a resume, not just to know what type of potential that you have to offer this business or corporation, but they want to know just a little bit about you. They don't want to hire just anyone, even though sometimes it may seem like that. But there's a reason for the interviews. There's a reason for these filtering processes. And another thing that we must overstand, and I won't say understand, but it's usually an overstatement. You stand over it by taking it to the next level of its evolution. Is trust is earned. It's not just given to you. You just don't trust just to trust. There has to be some grounds of evidence that this person is stable. This person is capable of retaining important aspects of your life or of your business. But there is another side of trust that I want to bring to your attention, ladies and gentlemen, that we must respect. It's one thing for you to trust that person, but it's another thing altogether for when you trust that person, you see the activities that they're doing to someone else. Or you see the evil that they are doing, or you see what type of attitudes and bad behavior they may have. And it's just a certain amount of time where they're turning on you. Like you may have a friend, or you may know family members, or you may have a spouse who will quickly fly off the hinge on someone, or quickly disrespect someone, or backbite them, talk about, throw people under the bus. And you see this sort of activity being tortured on someone else, or maybe just a careless situation for another person, whether it is vital or not. In the back of your mind, you're going to know that, or even think that eventually you're next. Eventually they're going to turn on you. Eventually they're going to do the same thing that they've done to that other person to you. See, I was teaching someone about going back again to religion or church, or the mindset of the religious people, or you could say the indoctrination. I'm getting ready to step on some toes, but I'm not doing it on accident. And again, it's not to point my finger at any specific person. This isn't about gender differences or bigotry or misogyny or misandry. Not at all. No. I'm not saying any names. This is particularly about a subject that we are all familiar with, that is surrounding religion, which could be the churches, which could be whatever denomination that you come from. I speak about the generality of each one of them and combine them as a whole, because there is some equal ground to many of them. But if it doesn't apply to you, then you don't have to say anything. Unless you're in your feelings. But here's the reality, ladies and gentlemen, or what I was going to bring to you. I had a discussion with an associate of mine. And I've spoken to you before that I have plenty of Christian friends and their Baptist friends and a few Jehovah's. And we can get along. We can hang out. We can go places. And you can you can think something exists as much as you want to. And I'm not going to look at you differently. I'm still going to beat you in a game of pool. I'm still going to beat you at basketball. I'm still going to run circles around you. I'm still going to outlift you. I'm still going to do what I normally do anyway. And I'm still going to respect you as a human being. But it's just several subjects that we are not going to agree on. But this is one of the ones that I think very fascinating to share with you all, because you're going to get something out of this, or at least you should. So he began to say that the reason why he's hanging out with me, this is one of my Jehovah associates, is that Jehovah is trying to pull me in. Jehovah is trying to speak to me. Jehovah is trying to bring me into their circle. This is why he's, you could say, being entertained with my presence. And I had to chuckle at him because I began to think about all the best things I can say to him in return, or to reply to this very interesting thought pattern that this man had. But I began to think about what he thought about Jehovah, how he put all these pieces together in our events and hanging out with each other, and thinking that he's actually here or speaking to me because he's being led by this, some people will call Jehovah God or gesture. Okay? And the first thing came out of my mouth was, how could I? And I don't trust it. I don't trust in what you believe in. I don't trust it. And it kind of threw him for a loop. It threw him off guard. And he reared back just a little bit in shock and said, what do you mean? There's the sun, there's the air, you exist, and you look like you're doing quite well, and etc. And I had to explain to him what I'm going to explain to you all, that you need to get a grip with yourself. And we're losing this in the world today. We're losing this in our families. We're losing what I'm getting ready to tell you. We don't have compassion for anybody else but ourselves anymore. We're selfish. We're selfish. That's what we are. We are always worried about our castle, our little bitty kingdom, and our little bitty experiences as little ants in existence. And because we're okay, because we're breathing, because everything is seemingly all right in our world, that we're just fine. While everybody else around us is suffering, going through, dealing with sorrows, losing their family members, and passing away for various reasons. Now, no, we cannot be Superman or Superwoman. No, everybody will not be saved. And we may lose some loved ones as we are journeying in this world that we are in today. And yes, that's the part of the circulation. However, that doesn't mean that we need to be so absent-minded when other people are suffering and going through. There used to be a time where towns and cities and people used to unite together to save and help each other. Where one life is every life. It didn't have a color, it didn't have a face. One life is every life. Do you understand? You get my drift? And so when he began to make these false ideas and speaking for God, as most people do anyway, as a habit, thinking that they know what God thinks, thinking that they know what God's plan is, and usually going by the programming that the pastors put in their mind, these computer chips in their head by birth, and every other I'm just going to say, item that they put under their skin since they was a child to augment their thinking and to distort their consciousness. Yeah, I went there. He had no idea what he was saying. So I broke it down to him, as I'm going to break it down to you, that it's amazing how we forget when it comes to reality what trust is really all about. See, I think about other people, not myself. I think about you. I think about the world. I think about not me being Gilligan on my island. I'm looking at, yes, to a point I can be gratified. It doesn't mean that I'm not thankful. It doesn't mean that I'm ignorant of myself. If you see me, you know that I'm not ignorant of myself. All right? But there are people suffering in the world. There are lives that have been lost in the millions. What tickled me as well, in my heart goes out to the family and those children. Some of you may remember the bounce house that was dislodged from the ground, or uplifted from the ground, and someone said about 30 feet in the air or something around there, approximately, with kids inside this bounce house, and 4 of them lost their lives, and they had to do their investigation. I don't know what's going to be the end of the investigation, but this is the story. Okay? Now, we can talk about several things with this. We can talk about if it was properly anchored into the ground. Okay? We can also talk about how this bounce house was created by human beings. It should not have been created. Right? And it's known to fly away during windy conditions. Okay? But that's not pointing my finger to anybody. I'm just stating the obvious fact. It shouldn't have been made. But you also got to look at 3 accounts with this. There's 3 counts with this. There's 3 counts. Actually, there's 4, but let's say 3. I'm going to give you the shingle law with the 4th one. Number 1, being anchored to the ground. Who created the ground? Being anchored onto Earth's surface. Okay? Number 2, how the bounce house was created and who inspired human beings to make such a catastrophe. Right? They used their technology, they used their mindset in knowing the probabilities of a dysfunction or a deep fault that will cause people, or children in this case, to be hurt. Really didn't matter. They continue to make it anyway because there's always going to be a dollar at the end of the day behind almost everything that a person does. A dollar. Okay? Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, the wind. You all praise, you all worship, you all talk about how God created the winds and the rain and whatever else, right? Now, if you claim God is the master or the boss or the leader or the number one man in your world, as you claim it to be, that means you're holding God accountable. Correct? So if you're stating that God did create the winds, okay? It was the wind that caused that tragedy. And I'm not going to go too far into depth with that. If you are struggling with what I'm saying, you need to go back several audios before now. I break down many of things, and I cannot continue to repeat myself to sloths that want to enter into my academy and be the dodo bird sitting in the cage. I don't need your mentality over here. Okay, I don't have special ed classrooms for people like you. Okay, this is the academy for people who think and they got their consciousness and they are aware and they are fully functional as adults. So, number 4 is this. We speak of God, or you could say Jehovah, whatever you want to call him. in your human mind. And if you honor or worship this thing, then it should have known what was going to happen before it occurred. Now, this isn't the only situation. We can apply that to almost everything that have encountered humankind or human nature, mankind. Okay? Where you have this thing that you are supposed to believe in that's supposed to be of love. Listen. Here's the lesson. Who's supposed to recreate the world all over again, are supposed to have this ultimate final showdown with the devil later on, which is actually going to be never. Okay? And supposed to be the savior of your soul and love everyone, including children. But this entity cannot and will not and have not prevented millions, if not billions of people to lose their life in multiple forms and in multiple ways that could have been prevented. Now, think about yourself as a human person. If you know something's going to happen and it's going to cause someone to lose their life, how could you be comfortable allowing this to happen? Now, I want you to pause right there, because this is when this friend of mine said the most dumbest thing, the most uneducated, the most ridiculous statement, in which he lost all respect from me, and he will never gain it. And he put himself in this category. This is what some of you may think of as well. And I know you may have a problem, not you who's listening, maybe you in the back of the classroom who got a sucker stuck in your nose. And you need to unplug your rear end. You may think it's okay. So when I brought this to his attention, he said, well, it's because, in his words, he said, Jehovah didn't know. Jehovah doesn't know. It's a random thing for Jehovah. Jehovah don't know everything. Pause right there. Wow. So you mean to tell me that you worship a God that don't know what's going to happen before it happens? And of course he goes by this thing that God, or you can say, came down here in human flesh to experience and suffer as a human, to know what suffering is like, in order to understand what it has created. Let's stop. Let's please do me a favor. I mean no disrespect, but I got to give it to you raw. Please. Shut that dumb ass, redundant, ridiculous, uneducated, Fokker-like ideas down. That's stupid. It is utterly stupid. You're going to make something and you are supposed to be a superior being. You don't know how it operates. You don't know what it's going to do, but yet listen. You're not a God. You are a man. Men do that. This is what a lot of Christians or even religious people don't understand. They put their human ideas on God. They make God out of what they want God to do. Or God to be. This is why you have multiple denominations. This is why you have multiple belief systems. This is why you got everybody picking and choosing what they want to believe in, because it's all about what makes them comfortable. That's what it's about. It's what makes them comfortable. And I got something else coming up behind that. Just keep a tab on that. Comfortable. Underline that, classroom, because I got something for that too. Say, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that you honor this so-called superior being that was able to put the sun in the sky, but it can't save 4 kids? I promise you, YouTube, I promise you, all of you who are listening right now, I'm telling you right now, and I mean it. If I had the ability to put on a cape or a bodysuit or something like that and save someone's life, if I know that they're going to be hurt, I will be there. I don't need no damn excuse. Listen. How could I say I love you and listen, how can I sacrifice my so-called son for everybody's sin, but I can't save a few people's lives? It means it's pointless then. There are plenty of other innocent people and kids that haven't got a chance to live their life. And how am I going to sit back and be okay with that on a constant basis? Or let's go further. Let's go further. Or create human beings who have the ability to create dangerous things or objects that are going to delete other people, and I know that they're going to do that. But I'm willing and dumb enough to create them with this ability to do so and act like I'm not responsible. Okay, let Elon Musk make something and it has a default in it that's going to cause a catastrophe. He's going to be responsible because he created it. He made it. It came from the manufacturer's place. Unless it's not augmented. If it hasn't been modified or augmented, his cars or anything, and nobody touched it, then they call recall. This is why you got recalls on every vehicle, just about. They recall it because they created these defaults and it's going to hurt someone. There's been a recall on Takata airbags once upon a time because it had the ability to how can I say that word? Expand in your face quickly and hastily, where it will cause you to go to sleep forever. So they decided they had to pull out a recall. They had to warn owners and get out there and repair what they have created. Because it came out the manufacturer a lot. So therefore, with a lot of activities on human earths from mankind and people as a whole, if they're able to make something that's going to cause somebody to be hurt, yes, that person's responsible. Whoever created that thing is responsible. Everybody in line is guilty. But the one who should be held accountable the most is the one who had the ultimate power, and that will be your idea of what God is. That's him, or it. In your words, you'll say him, it's it. And then all of a sudden, when you confront people with this, when you are holding God accountable, when you are, listen, that's just out of love. Stop right there. It's out of love. Listen, it's out of love. It's not out of disrespect for some God creature. It has nothing to do with being disobedient or a sinner. It has nothing to do with being an antichrist. It's because you love and you care for people. If you love and you care for people, you cannot sit still while people are losing their lives. I've told you several audios back, I care about people. And when I hear that somebody lost their life, I have kittens. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with innocent kids losing their ability to grow up, to see what they can be at the ages of 20, 30, 40, and 50. I have a problem with that. I can't sit well with that. I can't. That's not the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's not love. If it's possible for me to know what's going to happen, and I sit there on my throne, suck my thumb, and I want you to come to me and praise me, but I can't prevent people from losing their precious lives. So when you confront people with this reality, with this fact, that even you yourself can comprehend, and it makes sense, and the only thing that they can say is, oh, well, it's because God didn't know, then why the hell are you worshiping this deity, this man-made creation of yours that don't know bull crap? You're just as dumb as the rocks that you stand on then, and you know you are. So therefore, when it comes to trust, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I could be sipping on a pina colada in my lounge chair or enjoying the wonderful winds when I'm sitting on my porch or when I'm taking a long walk in my backyard, when I'm taking nice strolls, when I'm in the studio speaking to you, teaching you, talking with you, and no bullet is wheezing past my head or my face or my ears, right? And the day goes well, all 24 hours went without a hitch and not a problem. Of course I can sit back and say, well, thank you, God, I appreciate it. But how am I going to sit here and what makes me so different than everybody else? What makes me special than those 4 kids that lost their lives? Nothing. Nothing. I don't put myself higher than anybody else or before anybody else. Those lives are precious to me. So what did I tell you before? If you see this stuff happening and you're sitting up there thinking that you are invincible and impervious, again, it's only a matter of time where that dark lens, that uncaring, selfish, evil, ignorant mentality is going to be torted in your direction. You're next. It's only a matter of time. I'm not talking about you being deleted. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you see somebody abusing, somebody you care about, abusing other people and becoming ignorant to their struggles. What makes you think that one day they won't be ignorant to you in your struggles? And what makes you so different? What makes you so different than everybody else in the world? That's one problem I have with a lot of religious people. That's one of the big problems I have. They think they're more special than everybody else. They think that God only put them here as the surviving soul and spirit that's going to thrive and exist for all eternity when all this stuff passes away. But yet they can sit comfortably in their homes, comfortably in their little bitty silly islands, and watch everybody losing their crap daily, suffering and going through things. And they're still talking about, well, God is great. How? And you're seeing people suffering. That means you don't have a heart. That means you don't listen. You don't even. Let me stop because I was going to say something. Maybe we need to role reverse then, if that's the case. Let them live. And how about you sit in their position? Since you want to be so heartless and, oh, well, thank God anyway, at least I got air. I'm breathing. I'm healthy. So what? 1,200 other people just disappeared today. That's them. Oh, so you special now? You Queen Bathsheba and you the Lord of all things now. You're the chosen one. Get your bobblehead. Take your funny. Listen, you don't need to be here with that mentality. I don't like selfish people. If you were meant to be here in existence as this special person, then what you need everybody else for? Maybe God should have just made you and let you be the original Adam. We are in this bullshit together. I have a passion for people that will never go away. And who am I to receive the blessings when everybody else is suffering? No, they need a piece of the pie too. And I'm not talking about those who are willingly hurting themselves. I'm not talking about adults who are making bad decisions. That is not what I'm talking about. This thing goes deeper than that. It's not all about people making bad mistakes and veering off the road and then they're no longer here. I'm talking about innocent lives. I'm talking about people who really, really don't deserve it. I can hear y'all now. Well, Morpheus, how do you know they didn't deserve it? Because, God knows everything. And maybe God saw that, when they grew up to be 25, they might be a menace to society. Okay, you want to be a dummy like that? Do you really want to be a dummy like that? Do you? Do you realize there have been millions of people who have done a horrendous crime in a terrible mass deletion sort of situation. How come they wasn't prevented, if you want to play stupid? And they were used as vessels to hurt other people. And you think it's okay? Don't pray for me. Pray for your own ass. Do yourself a favor. And probably go somewhere and get some therapy. Prime example why we're not getting anywhere in this world or in a westernized civilization. Because I guarantee you, in other countries, they don't think like y'all. They don't. Go to another country, you have a better time with people who have more compassion and concern for each other. Over in the West, I think it's just a cesspool of idiots. Just running around a bunch of bobbleheads trying to figure this stuff out. But you've been here for more than 2,000 years. You're still trying to understand what is life. What is life? Tell me, who am I? Guide me, please, Pastor, because I'm a willing sheep. Yes, you are. And guess what? Sheeps have limited function. And they give up their rights as well. And they walk around with a cloth on their face. I said it. Now here's the Shangri-La. I'm going to make it short and sweet about about church specifically. And with the religious sector that I have studied, and that you can listen. Let me take a drink. Voice is trying to crack here. Listen up. Listen carefully. I want y'all to do some homework from what I'm going to say. And I know you've heard there's plenty of content creators. There's plenty of people who are up here just talking, just to be talking and bickering over nothing, right? I want you to do your own research. In most, not all, religious churches and circles, there is a common thing that goes on, and it involves music and singing and sometimes dancing. And why does this thing involve that? Because now let's go down to the basics. I'm going to make it short and sweet. Men are typically logical, stoic sometimes, and straightforward, right? We can be emotional, but we're a little less emotional than the woman. That's a fact. Women are usually very sensitive to their emotions, and their emotions guide them. And with that comes the decisions made by how she is moved and are touched through her emotions. Because it helps her or it deters her from her decisions. Most of your religious circles and our churches is almost like walking into a brainwashing, light code disturbing, consciousness sucking environment where it gives you y'all ready? Remember what I said? Comfortable situation. It gives you a comfortable setting of this idea of your word hope, which is actually expectation. To give you false expectations towards something that hasn't never come and will never come, but gives you the motivation to continue into your constant low valley mindset, constant low hanging fruit lifestyle, and inactive to accept reality. And it's called emotions, ladies and gentlemen. It is emotional. What creates a stir of emotions? Music. What causes a stir of emotions? Dancing, tambourines, the drum, and singing as well. Why do you have to listen? When y'all don't know, understand it. When you go to a business meeting, right? And you're doing a presentation about something to change this business, or you have a suggestion, you have something that's going to bring more revenue into this company. So you're going to present yourself, right? You're not going to go in there with a boombox and a tambourine and some drums and sing to the people. You're not going to get it's not going to work like that unless that is your gimmick, unless that's going to be a part of the business and it's going to bring in some type of, entertainment. That's different. But most times your presentation is going to be let's just say a canvas board, a projector, and you hitting it with the remote control, showing little clips and ideas and grids and functions, right? And graphs to describe the money or describe the numbers and describe how it's going to affect your business. Protocols are the outcome or the ceiling. There is no jumping. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, because some of y'all are kind of thrown off. Real life is basic just like that. No music. There's no dancing. It's either it's this or it's not that. Let's be productive. Let's be serious and focus on the numbers. Let's see what's really going on. Okay? What church does, specifically religions and those type of situations, it emotionalizes you. It makes you soft. It makes you're sitting down and it's like you're sitting down and you're drinking wine or beer or heavy alcohol where your mind is distorted. You're feeling good. You get to a point where you're tipsy. You get to the point where you're feeling very comfortable, but is it going to solve your problems? When an alcoholic drinks an alcoholic beverage, is it going to solve his problem? No, because eventually he's going to sober up. When you're in those church sections and you're shouting to the tambourines, you're listening to the pastors, and God said, and you're going to be delivered, and just believe, just I told you, if you just know this, there's no way, but just believe, because you don't see it, just see it, oh, just see it, just see it, oh yeah, and you sitting there like, oh my God, you feel so good, emotionalized, and yes, I do know how to sing. I was just saying that, I was talking like that as a joke. No, I really do. I know how to sing. Now, I can honestly say that. No, it's not there's plenty of people who say they know how to sing and they really don't. They can't hit a key. No, I can really throw down. One of these days I will. As a matter of fact, if you are a senior in my classroom, you know that I do. I've actually sung a little bit on one of my audios. There's an Easter egg for you. So if you know and you can find it, then you are very studious. Okay? But in the future, I might throw a couple of back out there because I can. I have nothing to hide. I enjoy singing. As a matter of fact, it's a good relief. But anyhow, getting back to the subject. So, who's mostly affected by this? Which is usually going to be the woman. She's enthralled about this. Now, when men are there, I question, yes, I'm going to say it. You better be damn straight, I'm going to say it. Yeah, I question a man's manhood. I do. I question them. I definitely do. And as a matter of fact, they become very passive, very soft, and there's something else that happens to them that I'm not going to get into. There's an audio. Now, listen, I'm not throwing daggers at y'all. I want you to really understand what I'm saying, okay? Because I mean this out of concern for your understanding. I'm not going to be on everybody's side, and I'm going to rub some people wrong. I get that. You have a good obligation to your own opinion, but I've spoken in one of my audios why religious people are so angry, are so mad. I made an audio like that. It's going to be surrounding that title. I speak to you about why some of them get angry and mad all the time when they are supposed to be Christians. So, most times when men or even women are in those type of situations, there is a comfortable emotional outlet there. But when they're away from it for a certain amount of time, or when they leave that area, the anger and the strife and the bitterness begin to rise. But I cannot explain that in this audio. You're just going to have to go back to the other one and do your homework, okay? Just do your homework. This is not to start an argument, but if you want to get mad, that means you didn't do your homework. Oh, I don't know what you talk about, Morpheus. You say you question a man's manhood because he wants to believe in God. Who the hell you think you are? Now listen. It's one thing for the world to think that you're stupid and you don't say nothing. Okay, it's another totally different story when you open up your damn mouth and let everybody know just how stupid you really are. Do the homework first, and then you have something to talk about, okay? So if you're not willing to go and check that audio out and listen to what I got to say, you have no damn argument. Take your retard elementary ass somewhere else. We don't need you here, okay? You flunked already. You're all the way down there. We're up here, okay? Scooter, huh? Scooby-Doo, huh? You got it, no? You get it? Ralph ass. Anyhow, so we must be mindful. Oh my God. I'm not mindful. Anyhow, we must be mindful that this is truly the dynamic amongst many other variations that you can add into the why. When you put in the why, and this may help you to evaluate yourself as well. I have gotten caught up in this. I've been around these circles, and it made me emotional as well as a man. This is what I mean by questioning my own manhood, because I was in my feminine. Do you understand? I was in my emotional self, and I began to realize it was a problem because I couldn't think straight. It was a comfortable environment. And here we are, got people trying to witness for something that they really didn't witness, but they're just talking and crying at the same time. You're going to feel a certain way. Yes, you're going to feel a certain way. But it's not going to solve your problem. It has nothing to do with creating a future. You're getting your dope shot while you're there of this invincible, soul-sucking vampire in the churches that takes from you. And you have no idea that something's been taken from you as you leave the church service. And you're sitting at home still incomplete, thinking that you got something while you're waiting on some Messiah to come who will never be here. The only Messiah that you ever see is a man-made Messiah based on controlling you for the rest of your life, or at least for 7 years, because you're dumb enough to allow them to do that. We have not fought for enough in the West to prevent the catastrophes that we've had thus far. So what makes us think we're going to fight for anything else? We're a bunch of soft-ass people. Soft-ass people. The only thing you can depend on is your technology and your machines. You can't think on your thinking because it's no longer there, or your consciousness. Because if you did think, if you did fight back, if you understood what was going on to your westernized country, it wouldn't be in the conditions that it's in today. To the victor goes the spoils, and it's not coming to you. As a matter of fact, it's being taken out of your country. And you sit down like a dumbass and let it happen to you and your future children, while you getting stamped everywhere you go with your transhumanist lifestyle. Everything you gotta have is a push button, because you can't push the instincts up in your brain, wherever that might be, if you didn't flush it. I said it. So while we're doing all that, we can't see straight because we're too emotionalized. You know what else comes with emotions? Fear. Did you hear what I said? Fear. Fear is an even stronger emotion. If you being sat down and usurped for your mind while you are in this religious, brainwashing, indoctrinated system that's been given to you, that you know full good damn well you didn't sit across the table and talk to God. You never saw God. You never made an agreement with God, but you just going by what hearsay say to you, which it don't make no sense to me. It's just mind blocking. I just don't get it. I mean, y'all graduate from college with PhDs and DRs, but you can't figure that out. It amazes me. It amazes me. I mean, you got somebody signing your check, but you never seen them, but yet you trust and you believe in them. I mean, your checks can be signed by a machine or a computer. Oh, I know he exists. No, you just don't know you exist. No, let me take that back. Stop. No, your consciousness don't exist. That's your problem. Walking zombies. So you'll never know where you was or what you're doing. You just go by what someone else say. So if it's not the emotions, getting back to the subject, that they are placating you with, the good emotions and give you hopes and dreams, when that doesn't work in the church systems, they give you something else called fear in multiple ways. Fear is going to make you do something. It's going to make you buy, or it's going to make you separated from those around you. And we need people. That might be half of the reason why some of you are talking about, well, you know, that's not my problem. It's not my kids. It's not my house. I'm good over here. I'm just fine. I remember, this is deep actually, and I'm going to get off this audio. I said this years ago. As a matter of fact, you need to check my audio out. One of my, if you're a senior in my class, you're accustomed to how I speak, okay? And I made a statement about people who praise themselves, people who are individual people, which is usually most people in America anyway. And I told you before, y'all erecting single houses and apartment complexes, but not really trying to come together for any significant reason. So deficient in mind is ridiculous. Anyhow, and I said that most people think that they are invincible to the world, invincible to problems and issues. And they think that they will never interact with the troubles that are going on in somebody else's life, or across the seas, or out of state, in a different country. And I said, it's just like the ripple in the water and wave, where that ripple may start on one side of this swimming pool, and it will not affect you in the first few seconds or minutes that somebody may jump in the water or splash the water. But give it a certain amount of time, and if you're in the pool long enough, that wave is going to reach you. So it's rather redundant and extremely ignorant for us to be cold-hearted and have no compassion for anybody else but ourselves. Because what happens to one person is eventually going to come in your direction in one form or another, especially if you don't fight back, especially if you do nothing, especially if you are in the same bracket and level. It's going to get you. There are some things that even happen to people in Hollywood, or you could call them the elites or the echelon or the entertainment industries, that they thought they were impervious and untouchable, according to civilians and other people who aren't in the industries, where they started feeling the whiplash as well. And the reverse. Oh, this is famous people. They deal with that. We don't have to deal with it. And here it is, spread all the way out here in normal land. So therefore, I'm just saying it's very ignorant for people to just be so callous towards other people's struggles and problems. It's ignorant. It's really dumb. Because that pendulum's gonna come back. It's gonna swing like it's supposed to, and that shadow that ended up over there on the south side or the west side, once the light reaches a certain part of your brain or your life, which is nothing but information, that shadow is gonna be on your side, and now you got to deal with it. So that's not one of the main reasons why I'm compassionate about people. I just don't like seeing people suffer, period. I don't like hearing those stories, and I definitely don't like how religious mindset individuals think that they are holier than thou because they are worshiping a deity that's been programmed into them. But again, as I said, it's just an emotionalized, indoctrinated system. That's all it is. It's emotionalized. When you get rid of the emotions, as a matter of fact, it's a totally different story when they leave those rooms or cathedrals or circles, prayer houses, when there's no longer any shouting, there's no tambourines and no music. Their life is dull. You don't see them shouting around in the streets, do you? You don't see them walking around like the most richest or happy people on the face of the planet. They look miserable as hell. There's no organ. There's no pastor speaking or screaming in their ears. So you know what they give you? You know what they give them? A gospel CD or tape to drive and listen to. More emotional BS. When they should be turning the music off and facing reality. Look at what's going on, not what they think is going on with their biblical indoctrinations. Now, some of you also have a problem with what I've said before as far as your ideal of the revelations. Oh my God, this stuff is happening because the Bible is a prophecy and it's coming to pass. That means, again, you're a flunky. You're trying to go to first grade to 12th grade. I've made an audio on that, and it's not really old either. It's not that far back, so you can find it. When a person writes something and 50,000 people read what that person have written, that person knows what you know. And they can orchestrate stuff in your environment to make you think, if they want to do that, according to power and control, to make you think that what they've written is exactly what they said. When it comes to religion, that is. Now you can prophesy. You can write something that will definitely, as they say, come to pass. Because you read human nature. You know what's going to happen when you become ignorant in your decisions or you make bad decisions in your adult life. You know that there's going to be a consequence that's going to be inevitable or probable to happen. But when you talk about something that was made like thousands of years ago, now you're acting stupid now. Because for plenty of millennia, a lot of people have been reading from that same book. So that means there has been multitudes, millions of people who think the same way as you do. So if I'm going to control you or that person who written that written page, and they want power over you and control, they can make stuff happen to not only tie you deeper into what they've written, but to do things in disguise instead of you finding the culprit or culprits. You too busy thinking it's a prophecy made up from a book, in a book that you cannot accuse, a book that isn't the criminal, a book that can't jump off the table and smack you in the face. It just sits there. So therefore, while you are asleep and unconscious thinking that everything is coming to pass according to the indoctrination with the dumbass self, stuff is going around in your environment that the real evil people are doing, are people, are person. That's facts. So the church plays along with other forms of indoctrination like school and other systems in your West as well. It's like playing chess. There are pieces against you. So everywhere that you move, once you get done passing one pawn, if you beat that one, there's going to be another one waiting for you or backing that pawn up, which eventually is going to checkmate you or put you in a checkmate position, in which the West is getting to that point. But I'm going to go ahead and get off of this. That is the end of this lesson, ladies and gentlemen. So in the nutshell, besides everything else that I have said, I know I've entertained you. There was a little bit of funny things I expect to have made you laugh a little bit. But mainly understand that emotions is the key here. With emotions come fear as well. And it's been used for decades, for plenty of millennia and years. And that's been the magic touch of the churches as well. And this also entails why the church is more female than it is male. That's just reality. And when men partake in that, there's something that does happen to their manhood. They don't think straight like they should, and they don't have straightforward conversations without getting upset and mad, because they're in that emotional system. So therefore, it reflects when you see a person wanting to get mad and debate you on your belief, and they're very emotional and angry about it. It doesn't do anything but confirm what I've just discussed with you. It's an emotional organization. And so either it's going to be a happy, good, hopeful emotion, or it's going to be, I need to defend my God and I'm angry for the name of whoever, Casper the Friendly Ghost. And they will never get it. And therefore they become marching white knight idiots that will self-destruct eventually. You can't live a life emotional and think you're going to get a logical outcome. It don't work like that. You're just going to be emotional and make a bad mistake. Logic don't have emotion. It focuses on what is and what isn't. And when you accept as an adult what is and what isn't, you're not going to get mad at it. You're going to let it go. You're going to say, well, okay, it's true or it's not. And you're going to call it done. And in that, I'm going to call this done for today. You have been served. And this is Leon C., a.k.a. Morpheus, and the Academy of Wow Men is here for you.